Hi guys, so let's discuss HTML attributes. Okay, so what are HTML attributes? HTML attributes are used to add more information to an HTML element. Okay, so important things to remember. HTML attributes are found in HTML tags. HTML attributes only appear at start tags. It will never be on end tags. Okay, so HTML elements can have multiple attributes. HTML attributes are composed of name or value pairs. Okay, there are some attributes that can be used on all HTML elements, though they may not have effect on some elements. They are called global attributes. Okay, let's click this. Let's check. Okay, let's leave this. It's not. We're going to discuss that later as we keep going through concepts. Those ones are advanced concepts. Said an HTML attribute is composed of an attribute name, an equal sign, a value surrounded by a quotation mark. It looks like this. Okay, like this: attribute name equals quotation mark with the value inside. Okay, so you can use single quotation marks depending on the situation, especially when the value contains double quotes. We will only use double quotation marks throughout the entire tutorial. Okay, they are telling us that we can use single quotes too sometimes, so that is, it doesn't have to be two quotes. It doesn't have to be two, it can be one and it will still work. So this is an example of an attribute. The enus inside is an attribute. Okay, so they said attribute lang. So this is a property having an attribute of, this is okay. It said an HTML attribute, an attribute name. So this is the attribute name. Lang is the attribute name. So and this enus is the attribute value. So that's just a basic example of an attribute. So we use the lang attribute to define the language of an HTML file. The language defined above is American English. Okay, let's look at another attribute href. That's another example. Attribute href. So this is the attribute name and it has a link inside. So that link is the attribute value. So this is just a basic element, one of the elements in HTML. So once you put this element in, you'll be able to just click it and go to wherever you want to go. Like this, as it is now, it's on a web page to appear just like a link. So, but it's an element. Behind the scenes is an element. So links are defined using the anchor a element. On the example above, we use the href attribute to tell the browser where to go. So that's what I was saying. When clicked, the user will be redirected to that link. That's to www.example.com. Okay, so let's look at the attribute title element, title example. Attribute title. Okay, so let's look at it. This is the title. This is the title. Title is the name, it's the attribute name. The value is I served as a tooltip. Let's try it. Let's click on it. The value is I served as a tooltip. So now look at the output. So the title is just an attribute. So we use this attribute for many reasons. Well, as you go through it, you begin to understand. So another thing is, you may not really understand HTML fully, but first you need to go through the basics. But as time goes on, in order to understand it fully, you need to be building projects. So, I don't know, but I think as time goes on, I will be posting projects too. Once we finish with the basics first, because the basics are much more important. Once you finish with the basics, then you will begin to focus on projects. Okay, so The title attribute provides a tooltip for HTML elements. Unfortunately, it doesn't work on mobile devices, so it didn't show on my device. If you want to see how it works, click the try to save button, then save the file as filename.html and open it on a browser using a desktop, laptop, etc. Okay, maybe we'll try that later. Okay, it says attribute style example. Attribute style. So it has an attribute name of style, and it has a value of font size. Okay, this is just a basic CSS. It's a basic CSS property. So it's also an attribute. It's an example of an attribute. But on the example given above, we have created a paragraph using the P element. We also use the style attribute to change its font size and color. So that's for that. So these are also some other attributes. An attribute of attribute name, ID, attribute name, class, all have values of name. So those are some last examples of attributes. The ID and class attributes give reference to elements inside an HTML document. Multiple elements can have the same class values on them. The ID's value should be for each element. This can also select elements in style sheets as scripts. So I just want to tell you something that before you go in and say you want to start building projects, building this, building anything, I would simply advise that you conquer the basics first. Every video on this playlist, try to go through everything. So try to understand the concept. Then you begin to push yourself into building projects. Else you'll just be a confused person. So you just understand the basics first. After understanding the basics, push yourself into building projects, so you won't be confused. So that's it for this video.